Hey, hi again guys and gals. Well, here we are. We're back in the workshop. I've been sanding a little bit on this tabletop. This is the bottom side that I'm working on right now because I'm going to lay out for the frame. I got a little bit of extra gluing to do on it. I patched some of the knots and holes. And so this is where we're at. And what I want to show you, what I need to do today, or right now, is I'm going to start building that leg frame. And to do so, we need to lay it out. Now, I got thinking about this. I got one of the beautiful legs that I bought here. I was going to put these an inch from the edge. And I really don't like that so much. I think I wanted an inch and a half. I think that looks better. And this is just a mock-up. This isn't the real wood, of course. When the real frame comes under here, I just like that look better than too close to the edge. What do you think? If we run this out to an inch, center this. I mean, I guess that's okay. I just like a little bit more overhang. I'm going with the inch and a half. That puts us in about here. So what we're going to do is we're going to lay out the 4 legs on these corners. I'm just going to use one as an example. And then I can measure between the measurements that I put out. Rather than just trying to measure it and calculate my, my frame runners, my apron runners, I'm just going to lay it out and we'll measure it and cut it that way. Then I can make the frame, finish the top, paint the legs, and it'll be done. All right, so what are we going to do first? This part of the frame of the framing square happens to be an inch and a half, and and this is 2 inches, and I can lay this over here a ½ inch. This framing square, they're a miraculous tool. They can be used for many, many dozens of operations, from making roofs to all sorts of stuff like that. So right there, we've got our inch and a half. I'll do the same over here. I'll bring it out a ½ inch. Get that parallel to the side. That side's a little long, so I'm going to leave it right there. So, easy peasy, right? Right. Now it says that these are 3½ inches square, but I think actually that's a little bit undersized. Those are 3 9/16 about, which is perfectly fine. I'm not going to do anything to these. So we'll use this as our template. We're going to put him right on the line. And I'm just going to trace around. And the slight variances from this won't matter anyway. We'll just center the tabletop up once I get the frame built. This just gives me something to measure from. So now I know what this dimension is already across between my legs. So now I need to go down to this end. And I need to do the same process. My frame is square. I got pencils laying all over. Most of the time I can't find them, and now I see 3 of them. All right. I just took the belt sander to the bottom of this and took it and just flattened it roughly. I'm not going to do anything more because it's the bottom, and it's only going to show 1½ inches under the edges. So there's no sense in beating myself up and spending a lot of time on that, other than to make it flat so it sits on the Sits on the apron frame. Okay, so now here I am. I got my corner. Might as well do it over here. Now I'm going to make them all the same, so even if there was a slight variance here. Alright. Use this leg again as the template. This is going to be so fun. We're going to do the top in a dark stain, chestnut or something like that. My daughter wants me to match something she already has, a piece of furniture. And there's that. Now what I'm going to do, all you got to do is, I want this frame to come in an inch from the edge. I've already got my set my caliper up here for an inch. Come in an inch from the edge. And just let it center up. Now I'm just going to use this as a, excuse me, I just had dinner and it was spicy kind of. Put that right there. Make sure that's sort of parallel. Did you know that you can just use alcohol and that'll erase most of the pencil lines from wood when you're working on it? I forget where I saw that tip, but a little bit of isopropyl alcohol. So anyway, this is 1.5 inches again, which is the thickness of the material I'm going to use, so this will help me center it up. So there you go. There's that guy. I mean, I really don't need to do this, to tell you the truth. This is just so I can visualize. And I'm just eyeballing this part because this is just to show where the ends of the apron meet up with the legs. Okay, bingo, bingo. And you know what? I think I left my good tape measure in the house on the dryer. Speaking in tongues here. My lenses are dusty. Bring that in an inch, as my great-grandmother used to call it, an inch. She was born in the 1878, I think she was born. So she was around for a while, and she died in the 1970s. And anybody who knows the area here around the southern tier of New York, that Cooper's Plains, is named after my mother's side of the family, the Coopers. And at one time they were a big rich family. Alright, so leg goes here, leg goes here. Let me lay out this. I won't be able to see this after I stain it anyway. Dusty. So that's the reason that this is 1.5 inches, is because most of your lumber these days is 1.5 inches. Bada bing, bada boom, eh? And by bringing this in an inch, it will make it. Actually, I could square that up by using this side of the table. Just square edges, find my mark. Alright. That is going to be the layout of the apron. And I think I'm just going to put the apron down with pocket screws. And I can actually do it down tight lengthwise. So I'll tighten it right down tight. Across the ends here, we're just going to need just a couple, and I'll drill out the holes a little large so this can expand a little bit. Because the wood will expand, it's all hemlock, it'll expand at the same rate. You just have to worry about these cross boards. Actually, this one is going to be screwed to that, so I could actually screw this down tight because the grain in this board goes that way too. Alright, you just don't want to tighten everything together too much. So I got to go get my tape measure and we'll make some measurements. Alrighty, so what I'm going to do now is that I've laid this out. Actually, I can lay the boards on here and just mark them. But I am going to measure, that is 31, so that makes it 29 because I found the 2 mark here. 29 and 5/16. I'll write it right here. 29 and 5/16. Now the hard part is going to be measuring from the other end. Of course, what I'll do is lay my locking tape out here. And I'll put it on the mark down here. So, and that's exactly on, and that looks like 56 and 5/8. Now I'm going to go over here. Put this on 56 and 5/8, and I should be right on down there. Go to the other end. And that's right on 56 and 5/8. And what width did I have down here? 29 and 5/16. Let's see what we read down here. That on 2, so that should read 31 and 5/16, and it's right on, dead on. So hey, guess what? My table's nice and square. So now we need to make 4 pieces of wood out of my 3 2x4s that I have here on the bottom of the pile. Alright, well I just cut the 2x4s. My 2x4s that I had bought were nice and straight without a lot of twist. And so these will be a lot easier to machine. So this is how it's going to sit. And I'm using these steel plates technique where you put a saw curve in your boards and you put threaded studs, lag screws into your legs. I'm going to flatten the edge of the leg here just a little bit. So this goes down in here, of course. And you tighten those bolts up, those nuts up, and it sucks that leg in tight, and that's the only thing that you need to do. The whole leg assembly will stand free without the top on it. But what's nice about it is if you want to move your table, all you got to do is take the legs off and then it'll fit through the door a lot easier. And there's just 2 bolts on each leg. Alright, that's going to be wonderful, isn't it? do to these legs? I don't really need to do a lot to them. I probably should run one side through the planer to get them cleaned up. So the you know, I'll put the smoothest side through the planer, and then we'll and you see me run stuff through the planer. I'm just going to run through the planer. All right, let's fire it up. It's going to be noisy. Anything else to those. I like the round edge anyway because that protects the knees, and I just wanted to take the roughness off. These are just ready to sand and stain. So and it's going to be painted. So because it's going to be painted, I think I'm just going to square up one edge. It's going to join the table. What we need to do next is decide, there's some fingering out here. How far in our pieces need to go. I'm just going to use 2 of the end pieces because it don't matter here, I'm just figuring. I like it. Probably can do it right here with just this thing. I just got to make sure this comes out at an equal distance. And you put a couple little screws in there too. And so, this gets difficult now. I just got to keep bouncing back and forth. Between the two sides here. Ugh. I need a is there a mathematician in the house? Tactician? So that one is well, why don't I do it to the outside measurement first? Okay. I usually have a pretty good eye for these things. Yeah, I look at them off by an 1/8 inch. So we need to kick that guy around. So I'm just trying to even these up based on the lines where the imaginary piece of wood is going to be. Still got to go that way a little bit. That's against the line, and that's against the line. Fargan ice hole. I don't know any other way to figure this out. You guys know something better? Loan me your brain power, because I need it right now. Okay, that's just touching. Not that much fun. I want to be able to just set this up on the table saw once and just zip it through and cut these grooves. Okay. Piece of monkey dong. I don't even need this wood. What am I doing with wood? Wood's just in the way. And of course I want to put it out a little farther than it needs to be, because that's right on, and that's right on. So pencil. I want the saw curve to be out there. And so that makes it 2 inches and 50 thousandths. All right, I'm going with it. And let's make sure these are all the same across. See if there's any variance part to part. There doesn't appear to be any difference whatsoever. All right, how deep is that? That is, well, we'll make it 300 thousandths. upside down. I'm making this up as I go. What I ended up doing on every leg, I came up the height of the apron board and cut a 45-degree flat here, and this is just so when I put my lag screws in here, it gives me a flat place to drive them in, and I'll have to make a 45-degree cradle so I can drill these on the drill press, and I'll use this as a template, of course, and drill my holes. There's plenty of room in here, so that's not to worry. I've got to get some, I really want to put some washers on those, make those fit nice and smooth. So we're getting there, we're very close. I need to find some small wood screws right now. Right now, there you go. I'm just going to start attaching these brackets together. No, actually, I think what I want to do is drill my pocket screws. And to do that, I got to mark all of these. And I'm going to want one right there. I'm just going to put 3 on the end. You guys seen pocket screws before, right? Aren't they most awesomeness? Let's see. Alright, I got the correct jig set up here. It's kind of cool because it makes pocket holes. And to do that, I've actually put a spacer in here because for the 1.5-inch holes, it drills way deep back in, and I didn't really want to drill that deep back in. So here we go. Bada bing, bada boom. We've got a pocket. There's where the screw's coming out. I don't really like the way it pushes that out. Hammer it down because that's going to be covered anyway. This is all going to be on the inside of the table frame where no one will ever see it anyway. So we'll line up our marks. Clamp it down. So you know this works on high speed, it might work better. Alright. The screw will punch right through that. Again, these aren't anything that has to be real precision. Because it don't matter. The screws will be happy whichever which way they go in. Alright, well there you go, there's one, and we are going to do the rest. So stay tuned.